Raid Shadow Legends, we have some new update, some new news for Raid Shadow Legends. We have a lot of tournaments going on right now. We have two new Void champions. They are both rares, and we have a new fusion. So let's look at the tournaments really quick just to get an idea of what we're looking at for the next few days. We have Spiders going on right now for 2 days. Then we're going to have 2 days of Fire Knight, I would guess. And then we're going to have Dragons tournament, and then we're going to have an Ice Golems tournament. Let's just dive right into the Spider tournament to see what we have. So to get 2,000 points in here, we are going to have to farm spiders, and to farm spiders we are going to need to 5 points rank. I don't know, we're going to have to like pull 80 runs of getting a perfect 6-star or higher for the tournament or something like that to get all this stuff on the side, to get the 2. So if you are doing spiders and you can get 6-star gear, which spiders is kind of the hardest, needs a little bit of tuning I think for everybody to help them out, but the max reward is 75 gems, and the very number one reward would be the Stitched Beast, which you need the Stitched Beast to do the new fusion that is only out for 2 weeks. But the fusion, don't worry if you can't do it, don't worry if you can't do this either. It's not a big deal. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now. We have these new events, we have these. Let's get into what the new champions are. Let's look at these 2 new champions, both undead, both void. This is the Stitched Beastie. He looks like he has a harness on him like you would ride him, but I don't know anybody who's going to get on this little thing with bones coming into your butt. So there he is. So he has really low max HP. He has an attack that hits twice here, and then can place the weaken on a 3-turn cooldown. That's good. A 25% weaken as well. And then deplete the turn meter. Obviously this isn't going to hit as good as Cold Hearts, and he has really low HP. I don't like that really low defense. This guy isn't going to survive in 20 very easy at all. Most of the time we have hard enough time with anybody surviving there. But when we try to bring Cold Heart into Fire Knight's 20 and other things like that, you need cover. You need serious cover. And luckily, you can build Cold Heart with a lot of defense gear and HP gear and just worry about doing crit and critical damage because you're only worried about her skill 3 to do the max damage. And then the rest of it's just good to have. But this guy, it's going to be really hard to play him, I think. Really hard. And he could go into Fire Knights because he does do a weaken. He does do 2 attacks here, 2 attacks on a second. And then he depletes the turn meter, which would be really nice on Fire Knight. But as far as anything else goes, I just don't know. So you let me know. Where would you use him? He's a Void Beast guy right here, Stitched Beast. And then we have, no, we don't have that. We have this really cool, this skeleton to me looks amazing. I just want to play him just because he looks really cool, right? I want a legendary like this. The purple glow coming out of him, you know, put some gold on his shield or whatever else you got to do to make him look more legendary. But I don't care. He looks really cool. He's got really high HP, really good defense. So he's going to last. Defense based. He can block buffs. He can block skill cooldowns and then do heal reduction. And he can increase his defense by 30% after the hit, not before the hit. It'd be cool if he did the increased defense and then did the attack. But still, it doesn't matter. It's on a 3-turn cooldown. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. I don't know. We've got a lot of options out there. I wish he had a. If he had an AOE, I would level him up regardless. Defense space within AOE and then all these other effects, I would be there because I just want to see him. I'd want to see him like slash that sword machete out in like a purple glow AOE against the enemy, and he would be my man. I'd be playing him right now. He doesn't have as much defense as is the main seduction man, Seducer, is around 1,300, but he looks like he could do really well. Defense-based guys always do well. He just needs an AoE. So let's go on to the new fusion that we have for today. So the new fusion is, where is she at? Fusion. Sakura. She is sister to the other one, which is Alika, I want to say her name is. I can't remember off the top of my head. Let's go into, so let's look at what we need for her. So we need the 2 new Void champions to do it. We've only got a little less than 2 weeks to do it. And we need Grumbler, which is actually a pretty good dwarf. He does the shared damage of 25%. Not a bad thing to have, to do shared damage to get through some content in the game. And then Honor Guard, I can't remember what he does, but I don't think he was that good. But so we need all these guys just to make her. Let's go over to her and let's see what her and her sister are all about really quick. And then we'll go back to the events and maybe we can see what dragons and the rest. I don't know if we can see those yet, but maybe we can see what's happening with those. So we've got barbarians here. We have, do I have her? Oh, no, that's not her. That's not her. These bottom boobs would fall right out. We have, so here's her sister Alika, right? They have the same passive. If one of them dies and they're together on a team, they'll come back to life with a 7-turn cooldown, 75% HP. It's pretty impressive. Let's look at her skills anyway. So if you were to use one and use the other, targets defense, Attacks all enemies. Cooldown skills. 1 and 1. Okay, so let's get over to what the fusion is. So here she is. She is actually not that bad. She has really high HP, really high defense, low attack, but that's fine. We can work with that. We'd rather keep our champion alive and do damage than dead, right? So we have the first one, fantastic skill. You get a crit, you get an increased turn meter of 25%. That is actually a lot. And you do an AoE attack 3 times. Each has a 60% chance of removing a random buff. So 3 times each, if it does it each hit, that's actually a really strong ability on a 4-turn cooldown. And then this here, we have a 4-turn cooldown with a chance to apply to 25% weaken, which again is nice. So she's an interesting champion. I don't see anybody playing her. She does have two AoEs on a 4-turn cooldown. Could she be useful in Spider? The remove buff isn't going to really make a difference in Spider. There's nothing to remove. The AoE weaken would be cool. It depends on how hard they hit. They're all based off of attack, and her attack is a little bit low. But again, like I said, we can work with that. We can buff that up, and we're going to get her 100% crit. So she's going to be taking turns faster, and her speed is 101, so that's nice. She could be useful somewhere, but is she worth fusing? That's the main thing. I don't think, especially in a time crunch, is she worth fusing in a time crunch? I don't think she is. I think you could take anybody who's magic, which there's any of your starting champions. Let's just take Kayle because I love Kayle. He can do a really good AoE on a 3-turn cooldown, and he gets an increased turn meter for like a crit or something like that, or a kill. Something Kayle gets, I can't remember right now. And then he has the turn 1 poison, and then the skill 3 poison, and that's just going off of Kayle. So I know there are a lot of other options out there for things. Yes, Kayle doesn't remove buffs, so if we do face faction wars and there is somebody in there for barbarians that requires buff removal, sure, she could be something to go to. But we won't know that because faction wars will be out after this fusion is gone. So who knows? Who knows what we could use her for? I really don't know right now. So let's look into something else for what we're doing today. So we've got this new tournament coming out. 4 new tournaments back to back to keep us busy with things to do. So grinding spiders. Spiders is one of the hardest dungeons out there. Everybody I talk to, lately I've been doing those videos where I look at people's accounts and they all tell me, and it's true, spiders is really hard, and I kind of feel like it's very overtuned for where it's at in regard to everything else. Like, what I mean is, you could be farming dragons 20 and in golems 20 and still be very far behind in spiders. Still be down in spiders 15 or even lower. I would say about 13 or 15. Right at 13 it starts to pick up really hard, and then from there on, if you don't have the exact right champions, it really just becomes, hey, I got to get these champions to do it, which it shouldn't be that way. It should just be, of course we got to bring in it's nice to be able to say that, hey, we got to bring in a certain strategy for it, but not just a few select champions for it. That's not good, and I feel like spiders is that way, and it would be really nice if it were to be tuned and changed so that more people would have access to it, because it's part of our missions too. We go through our missions, you got to be all 15 of everything in auto, and then eventually you got to be all 20 of everything in auto to get arbiter, like I did recently. So you need to have that progress, and if the majority of people are doing fine at in-game with 20 Fire Knight, golems, and dragons, then they should be able to do spiders as well. And if they can't do it, then that looks like there's an issue, and I think we need to kind of go to that and address it and maybe do a little bit something with spiders. But that's just the first one we have. So I don't consider any of this stuff really that you need to go out of your way for. So you can consider this just either it's something you want to play around with and do, or you can skip it. This is how I feel. You can skip it if you wanted to. It's totally up to you. Just don't stress yourself on it. Just have fun with the game. Always just enjoy the game the way you want to enjoy it. Because even though you see these things here, I mean, what is it? Just a few gems. This guy, we've got some poison gear, 2 pieces of that. So I don't know what you're going to do with 2 pieces of poison gear. You can farm that as well. So don't sweat it, guys. It's just an event. It's just something extra to do if you want to. So don't be all grumpy and salty and say, hey, spiders, whatever, Fire Knight, it's just for people who have money, or whales. It's really not for whales. This is for anybody. You can do this if you want to spend the time and do it. If you have the energy to do it, you can. And if you don't want to, then you're not missing out. You're not missing out. It's fine. Let's see if we can look at Fire Knight. Nope. Dragons, nope. We can't look at any of this stuff. So I have a feeling, if these are the rewards for Spider, then the rewards will be very similar for the rest of them. So not much to worry about at all. So each 2 days we could get 2 2 shards if we want to farm that area overnight even, and we could get a few other things like 30 gems, a little bit of silver, and a 1-day XP for you know, within the next next week or so we could get that. And I'm sure they're going to do more stuff. Maybe they're going to do more stuff. Maybe they're going to have more options. Of course, these champions are in the pool now to be summoned. These 2 champions here, if you wanted to get the 2 new champions and pull Void, I would wait just to see if we get more champions down the line. There's no reason to try to go for these 2 champions right now. What are you going to do with 2 Void Rares that you can't already do with everything else you have in the game? So don't worry about that. And what are you going to do with her? Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. What are you going to do with this girl here? If you were to fuse her, what content would you use her in? Are you going to miss any of these champions? And how do you feel about the new events? Do you just like, meh, they're just events, I'm not going to worry about too much. If I hit it, I hit it. Then I'll get a few little extra things. And if I don't, I don't. Or do you think that they should be a little bit different, a little bit more rewarding, especially for first place maybe, and second and third? I think should be a little bit more rewarding than what they are. But they're doing so many, so maybe they cut back. But we'll see. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. That's all the new stuff, all the new update for now. And I will see you all on the next video.